Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the swear word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the Chiliad community, by the Chiliad community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, up here tonight, we have an amazing guest locked and loaded, 2 sauces on deck for hot or not, and a very fun dual round version of the 5. So episode 125 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for being here and making this show what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Up tonight, we have 2 sauces on deck. These are from Texas Heartland. We're going to be diving into those on Hot or Not tonight, as well as we are going to be talking with Andrew from Maestros Sauce Co. We're going to be learning about how Maestros Sauce Co. got started, the overall inspiration, and much more, as well as we have a very fun dual round version of the 5, specially curated for Andrew. So we will be diving on into that as well. And if you would have answered that game any different than he did, let me know down in the comments what your answers would have shaken out to be. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Welcome on into Hot or Not. Now, as things have been changing around here, you are going to be seeing the quick hit breakdown, and the full length reviews will be standalones under Scorchin' and Swearin', so you can head on over there for the full review. But up tonight, we have 2 sauces on deck. Both of these are from Texas Heartland. I do break things down a little bit different here. I don't do a 1 out of 10 scale. I do a 1 out of 5. That's really based off of 5 different categories. Those categories are heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, burn. I add those up, average them out, and that gives us our total swear word rating. And yes, I do view heat different than burn. Heat is that max, first 15 to 30 seconds window that you're really getting that initial flash. After that 30-second window is done, that is where the burn kicks in. It's where does it sit? How does it sit? Does it amplify? Does it migrate? All these other things play into effect on the burn. Now, the other thing I don't like to do is read the ingredients ahead of time. I like to let my taste buds do the exploration. So, with that being said, we all learn about the ingredients together. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the very first product. Hill Country Verde. Beautiful overall color to the sauce. Very soft, light green overall look to it. Absolutely love the branding and the labeling on this. There is a perforation on the cellophane, a nice medium consistency. Maybe a little bit thicker. The sauce looks nice and creamy. Wow. Beautiful aroma. Very bright pepper, citrus notes right off the bat. A little bit of herbiness, but mostly that first bit of aroma that you get hit with is citrus, peppers, and herbs. Cheers. Man. All right. Right as I had mentioned with the overall nature of this sauce, beautiful bright citrus notes, nice creamy undertones, and then a nice crisp cut of the peppers throughout that. Pepper-wise, I'm definitely tasting a little bit of what tastes like some poblano going on here. I don't know if that's jalapeno or if that's serrano in this. Now, that creamy undertone, it is like silky smooth. It is inviting. It carries and holds on to that herby nature so well. If you're just starting out, one, you're going to be able to pick up, use, love, lather up, and you're going to be perfectly fine. Constantly working on your own personal best. This is going to be a nice mild sauce for you. One that's going to go great for breakfast, great for tacos, great for sandwiches, burgers, pizzas, you name it. This thing's going to be great on it. The only thing it's not geared towards is dessert. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ingredients. Tomatillos, white vinegar, poblano peppers, green bell peppers, avocados. Okay, so there's actual avocados in here. There we go. Jalapeno peppers, yellow onion, lime juice, cilantro, avocado oil, garlic, kosher salt, black pepper, cumin, coriander, and Mexican oregano. Heat coming in at 4.2. We have aroma of 4.3. We have flavor of 4.48, a versatility of a 4, a burn of a 2 for a total swear word rating of 3.36. There we go. Another amazing sauce. That is Hill Country Verde. Roasted onion and garlic Reaper. This is the reserve. This is the hotter offerings from Texas Heartland. So chili heads, this is one that you would want to pay attention to. For those that are keeping track, yes, this does have the perforation on the cellophane. Does look to be a thicker sauce. You know what that means. Better hold on the food. So right off the aroma from the bottle, I'm picking up the Superhots, but there's also a interesting kind of a sweet note to it. It's almost a sweet note. It's a very interesting note that I'm picking up. I can't quite pinpoint it. I mean, I'm picking up the onions, I'm picking up the peppers, but there is a layer of almost, maybe that is just a fire roasted, ingredients going on in here, because ultimately I'm picking up kind of a smoky yet sweet note. Color of this sauce is a dark red. You're definitely seeing some textures, some seeds, some pepper bits. Cheers. So I think it might just be the fire roasting. First and foremost, not geared towards individuals that are just starting out. This one definitely has some heat, definitely has some legs on it. If you're just starting out, there's plenty of other great options from Texas Heartland for you to check out. Beautiful texture to this sauce. Nice, savory, smoky depth. Really right off the bat. Almost a creamy, smooth, inviting false hope for about a split second or so. And then you start to really feel the bright bodies of the overall Superhots that are going on in here. The flavors start to accentuate from it, but then it also really start to latch into the gums, the tongue, the mouth, the roof of the mouth, and the back of the throat, as you can hear it now ramping up there. That smoky roasted depth is really kind of what is that undertone that I thought was sweetness that I was smelling. Very much one of those sauces that you're able to utilize in burgers or sandwiches or pizzas or tacos, quesadillas, etc. It's one that's not going to extremely disrupt anything that you have going on. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and read some ingredients here. Yellow onion, Carolina Reaper pepper mash, apple cider vinegar, garlic, lime juice, kosher salt, ground cumin, ground turmeric, and ground ginger. All right, heat coming in at 3.7. We have aroma of 4.06, flavor of 4.34, versatility of a 4, and a burn of 4.12 for a total swear word rating of 4.04. There we go. Another amazing sauce. If you enjoyed the products that are featured here on Hot or Not tonight, I'll have the direct links down below for them, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Texas Heartland. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the interview. Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to have you here. Obviously, seen your stuff online. You've been featured on the podcast early on from a product standpoint. So glad to have you here and learn much more about the Maestros Sauce Co. So glad to have
Thanks
you
for
here.
having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing I always like to lead off with is really that icebreaker. What was that moment that you got interested in spicy food? And then what was that moment that you said, hey, you know what? I'm going to start making my own spicy products.
I've liked spicy food for quite a while, and then one of their owners and I, there's four of us that own the company. Him and I work together at our regular job. We all have regular 9 to 5s, and he started bringing in hot sauces and introduced me to hot ones at that point. Asked if I like stuff. I was like, yeah. And then we just started hitting it off from that point. And then he said, "Hey, I'm gonna make my own hot sauce." I was like, "Well, if he can make one, I can make one." So we both made our sauces, and I turned around and made a second sauce. Probably 2 or 3 days after I made the first batch it was a cranberry habanero sauce that I made originally.
Oh, nice.
He made a serrano sauce, and then I turned around and made what became the curry fury. And took it into the office. People were trying it. People started asking to buy it. I'm like, "Oh, can't sell this. We don't have any type of ability to sell this yet." And we kind of took that as that's kind of cool. And then I was going on a business trip, had the four of us that own the company over for dinner one night, had wings and beer, and was like, "Man, this is a pretty good sauce. Let's see what we can do with this." And Maestros was born.
Nice, very nice. Now, as y'all were kind of coming through and collaborating on this, the first two iterations, the Serrano and the habanero cranberry. Now, were those later, anything done with those, or did those just kind of fizzle away?
Nope, those were just we were just doing it for fun at that point. It wasn't even the thought of owning a hot sauce company. It wasn't just trying to do something new. And it was really the curry sauce that kind of stood out and went, hey, we've had a handful of curry sauces that other companies make, and we are like, this is pretty good, and other people seem to agree. So we turned that into the business.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Well, one thing that, yeah, to that point, it's like you find out in the market either a very strong, condensed version of like a curry, which you would normally use for cooking, but you'll see that kind of carry over sometimes in different condiments when people try to make
Yep.
their own hand at a curry style sauce. And it's just like, there's very this to that extent there's very few that make it in a way that you're able to actually utilize it in the food without having to cut it with other stuff and making it in a larger batch.
Right. Yeah, we did a different approach to it as well. It's a curry and mustard blend. And it's actually pretty unique because depending on what you eat it with, it'll change the profile. So you'll get more of the mustard if you eat on like a hamburger or a hot dog, but then you get more of the curry if you have it with a chicken or a rice. And then we did some ginger and garlic and lemon and lime. And the first iteration was really good. And then as we formed the company, we sat down and reviewed it and went through it over and had it like five other iterations before we came to what is now the Curry Fury.
Very nice. Yeah, the way that this is kind of carried through, I know with you're saying also there being four of y'all, have you started to find out that there's certain ones, does everyone contribute to the overall inspiration aspect, or is this like, one person's more skilled at the handling the day-to-day business aspect versus the creative side?
We all have a say in the creative side for sure. We all have our different roles within the day-to-day business perspective of it. But when it comes to making a new sauce, somebody like I can come up with a base, or Ross can come up with a base, or Dennis can come up with a base, whoever it might be. Um, and then we'll take that base, we find something we enjoy, and then we'll get together as a group and we'll start tweaking and figuring out what we can do to make it a little bit better. We'll come with some ideas of, hey, it's a little too sweet, or it's a little too salty, or we're really hoping for this kind of flavor, but it's whoever has the inspiration for the base of the sauce. And we always start at that. We start at the flavor profile we're looking for, and then the peppers come later. We're never focused on the peppers first. We're always focused on how the sauce is going to taste, what flavors it's going to have, what we can pair it with. And then we go, well, how hot do we want this? What's going to be a good flavor profile with it? Um, and so we've kind of toyed around with it from that perspective, and it's worked out really well. And we have disagreements, and we don't all have the same palate. We all like different things. And so once we come to a sauce that we all enjoy, the whole point, the whole process of the development stops then and there. We do not keep trying to push it further, make it this or that. Once we all think like, hey, this sauce is really good, we all really enjoy this, that's when the development stops.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And something that you mentioned there triggered a thought in my head as well, which is y'all do offer obviously some sauces with that pack a very nice heat. With their, with everyone's tolerances being what they are, is there someone that's kind of edged out as far as the carved out as the person that is like the heat taker of the overall group, if you will?
Yeah. Dennis probably has the least heat tolerance, and then I would say I'm the next least. Ross is pretty high up there, but then Steven, he's our newest member. He joined us last year. The first one of the other owners stepped away. We brought Steven in. He went and handle more of the manufacturing side of everything. But he has probably the highest heat tolerance out of the four of us. Him and Ross are pretty close.
Okay.
So
Is there
we've
is there
got
kind
it.
of
Sorry.
like a heat that he likes to be around as far as like
No,
an everyday kind of consumption? Do you see him kind of gravitate around super hot range, or
he
is it?
yeah, he likes he really likes more of like our masterpiece and our steel Hurton and our devil dust. And I think you've had a number of those. I can't remember if you've had the steel Hurton or not, but that's our hottest by a pretty big margin. He's like, yeah, it's pretty warm. But it's not overwhelmingly hot for him.
Yeah.
Um, Even for Ross, it's not like it's definitely on the upper echelon of what I enjoy. I've done hotter for sure, but it's where that top level of enjoyment of actual heat.
Absolutely. And to that point, it's like being able to, really understand and find out ways that you can appreciate something that may not be your instant go-to or your preferred level of heat, but being able to understand the overall heat, the flavor, and get a glimpse in, whether it's too hot or not, a glimpse into what that sauce is and what it means
Right.
is still great. And so and y'all sauce, yes, even the hotter ones that I have tried from y'all has been just flavor packed, but once again, a lot of nice heat that comes in on the back end of it. So, absolutely phenomenal stuff there.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I mean, and it's super cool to know that you have different areas and expertise, if you will, whether someone can handle the more heat or whatnot, but you have multiple different brains to kind of bounce these ideas off of to gather these inspiration for different recipes, etc. How has the overall local scene, love and appreciation for y'all been?
So we're very much a major local presence here in the Pittsburgh area. We do a lot of the events around the areas, a lot of the festivals. So we're coming up to our busy season now. The later half of the year is when we do most of our business because we're at all those festivals. Um, we're carried almost exclusively locally at this point from business perspective, from all of our wholesalers. And yeah, we have a very large following in this area, and then we have a global following. We don't ship outside of the U.S., but we have customers that come into the U.S. They buy stuff, they go back. That happened through some of our work functions where people come in from out of country, they would buy stuff and they would take it back. People have taken our sauces all over the world. We have videos of people taking it to South Africa. We have people taking it to China, over to Europe and over in the Middle East. So that's a really cool feeling to see that down in Mexico. Um, we get these pictures, we get these stories of people taking our sauces on these trips, and that's it's a really cool feeling. We had a lady that bought 3 bottles of curry fury just to take to South Africa with her for a business trip,
Oh,
and
nice.
I was like that means a lot as a small business owner. But like you would think to buy our sauce to take it with you to South Africa to share with your coworkers and your friends that are there. That's a really cool experience to see.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Very cool. And as this is kind of rolling through, are you typically getting pictures sometimes from these folks, or is it just, word of mouth through like
We
comments,
do.
etc.?
Yeah, we do get some pictures. We get some emails that come in. We'll get Facebook messages about it. We've ran into some, we'll call them fans. We call them Maestros family. From all, Ross was on vacation in Iceland, and a couple stopped him because he was wearing his Maestro shirt in a bar over there, and they were from the Pittsburgh area, and they recognized that they were huge fans of the sauce, and so he got a picture with them in Iceland that he wasn't expecting. I was just on vacation in Myrtle Beach, and one of the ladies that works at the hotel recognized the brand and stopped me and asked me about it. So it was a really kind of a surreal experience being, you know, I was 13 hours from home or whatever, and he was, across the ocean. So and
Yeah.
people recognizing it, which is it's a really cool experience and we're still just a small business. We've never been on Hot Ones or anything like that. So that major recognition is not quite there.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Your product speaks for itself. You're out there doing it. You're blowing up the local scene with, all the love and passion and everyone really dumping back into y'all. I think it's only a matter of time to continue to see that translate and really just spread out further and further. Well, the reason why I ask about the photos and all that stuff is because that'd be super cool to see, once you have a set amount to do like a little one of those like layered picture translate video
Yeah.
overlays, if you will. So yeah, no, that'd be super cool to see happen and all the different places and all the different bottles, going everywhere. Yeah, I mean, from a local presence, things are going great and seeing online, whether that be orders going out to different places, different states, etc. It's got to be cool to watch that overall expansion and growth and exposure just taking place in real time.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. And we used to have a map that we would track like for each state that we ship to, and we're down to one. We're only missing one. We've shipped to 49 states. We're
Oh,
just missing
nice.
Alaska.
Okay.
We've shipped over to Guam. We've shipped overseas for the military, which has been a really cool experience. I think we're missing the Virgin Islands as well, but that's a tough kind of pool
Yeah.
to get from that far. Um, but we had some military people that were stationed over in Guam, so they started ordering to them. So that was a pretty cool experience too to ship overseas like that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. The idea of Alaska really kind of being, the main one. It's almost one of those moments. It's like, do you just wrap a bottle and
And
send
ship
it
it somewhere. Yeah,
send it either somewhere or send it to their post office and just say to the recipient of, "Hey, enjoy this here."
yeah.
Like,
We've everything has been ordered to this point, which is awesome. I remember when we first got our first Hawaii order. A guy named Kevin, he orders pretty regularly. He's made. We have some other fans out there now, but that was a big moment of like, man, we got attention from somebody in Hawaii. Like that's all the way across the country for us. So
yep.
it was a cool experience. And as you started noticing more and more of the states, you were like, oh, let's see how many we have. And one we were missing, 9 or 10 states, and now we're down to one, which is the we've been around for 6 years. It feels like a pretty big accomplishment to get sausage shipped all over the country. Our online orders have been this year's been better than ever before. So we're starting to notice some pretty big traction in that area, which has been great.
Yeah, nice, nice. Definitely amazing to hear. And shout out to Kevin. Kevin is a real trooper. He's always on here. Always catch him in the chat, and so
Yeah,
a great guy, and
he's a
he does amazing
huge,
things
huge
for the
part of the
community.
community.
Yep.
Yes.
So intertwined, so plugged in. So shout out Kevin. But yeah, it's amazing to hear and to see things happen and play out like that. Because it's great to get that feedback, that response. It's also great to know, like we were talking about, that overall growth, because then it kind of shows you where you want to potentially grow. Um,
Yep.
so no, that's cool. So now y'all have not only the regular line, but you also have a reserve line. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. So we do a limited runs. We typically do one kettle a year. Sometimes we'll push up to two kettles if it gets, the demand is really there. So we do right now we have the Phantom Bite, the Devil Dust, the Steel Hurtin, and the Muruga Triangle as our reserve list. More are going to be added to that. It's one of our goals for 2026 and start having more of these. And then what the eventual goal will be is to start cycling them so we don't have necessarily the same ones every single year, but we start bringing out in a 2 year cycle for some of these. So Maruga right now we brought back. We haven't had that for a year, so that might go away for another year after we sell out of it, and we'll have something else that runs in 2026, and then Maruga might be available back in 2027. The other three are pretty mainline staples. We have a pretty big following and demand for those when they release. Phantom Bite is far and away the biggest of those three. We almost made a second batch of it this year, or in 2024 rather, because the first weekend we released it, we almost sold out of the entire batch we made in one weekend. We ended like with 6 or 7 bottles remaining in inventory, and by Black Friday, those were all gone too, which is really cool. And that's the goal of doing these limited runs. And the peppers aren't easily to get, they're not easy to get a hold of. You have to either know growers or grow your own, which we do. Um, and so harvest season comes out. I just started picking peppers yesterday. Actually, as I was going to do a post about that on Facebook today and Instagram, that pepper picking season has started. So um, Steel Hurtin we're going to bring out earlier this year. We will be at the Pittsburgh Rivers of Fire, which is the first ever hot sauce festival in Pittsburgh. And so we decided, well, we can't show up to a hot sauce festival without bringing our big hitter of Steel Hurtin out. So we're going to do that. And then for the first time ever, we're going to have it available over Black Friday. We've never done that before. We usually release it the second week of December, and then it's usually gone in mid-January by the latest. Um, so we're trying some different things, and we've listened to some feedback, and we have customers telling us, hey, we really want the sauce. So we're gonna take a shot at it and see how it goes.
Nice. Yeah, I think that your overall breakdown of your lineup is absolutely phenomenal. What you have going on, but yes, the being able to have the Steel Hurton out there for the event definitely makes sense. What was the thought process? I mean, obviously there's quite a few different names, but for Steel Hurton, what was the overall thought process on that one?
It was a big nod to Pittsburgh. We're all from here, and the Steelers are a big portion of this city, and the Steel Curtain was a big part. And they lowered the boom every whenever they were on the field, and we thought about, okay, well, this sauce it punches. I mean, it's a blend of reapers, scorpions, devil's tongues, and ghosts. It definitely and it was designed. We layered it that way so that as one pepper would fire off and it would start to pull back, the next pepper would fire off because they have those delayed reactions between them. So
Yep.
you went through this just intense climb until it just plateaus. And we paired it with ginger to make you more susceptible to the heat. We have a little bit of olive oil, or canola oil in there to make those the capsaicin stick to your pain receptors. And we really wanted to take the thought process of like, okay, how do we make this sauce and how do we make it hot and but still make it delicious. So we have a ginger and turmeric and dill blend to it. We have some lemon juice and we have some garlic in there and some So you're getting this really good blend of flavor, and you have this just monster of a punch that comes in. It's by no means the hottest sauce out there. I mean, you have things like Thor's Hammer that are just incredibly spicy. Um, and we weren't trying to do that. We were trying to make our own heavy hitter that was an extension of ourselves with the flavor that we try to provide. We really try to take that flavor first approach, even with a super hot sauce.
Yep.
It's been well received.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steel Hurton, I think that I will have to check definitely which ones I have tried, but for some reason I believe it was the masterpiece and maybe the roasted ghost garlic.
Yeah,
Or I
I want to
think
say you
this
had the
was.
taco sauce maybe too. I'm trying to remember because you did two episodes where you featured us before. That was
Yeah,
last year, and I can't remember which ones we sent you at that point in time.
yeah.
But
I don't remember either. I definitely I remember the masterpiece, and I want to say it was roasted ghosted garlic, and or maybe it was just roasted garlic. I can't remember, but it was one of those, and it might have been the curry fury, but not 100% certain. But ultimately, the layers of depth and everything that you have going on, and then hearing you explain some of these others, that does absolutely 100% line up. The overall level of care, intent, and just focus on your overall product. You are paying attention to how these notes play together, making sure nothing really steps on or steps over another flavor note or aspect, and really being able to, as you're mentioning there, fine tune some of these other additional pairing ingredients so that it has a different effect on the overall consumer. Um, are you finding that more people are just utilizing your sauces as like a finishing, or are you also getting some feedback of people cooking with this, or do you personally cook with any of your sauces?
yeah, we get both. Finishing sauce is definitely a normal thing, like a dipping sauce or just lathering it on something. We get a lot of the cooking with it too. We personally cook with it. We have one of the big things we get is our taco sauce. People stop using the taco seasoning packets and they just pour the sauce on the meat and then cook it that way. So you get the spice, you get the taco flavoring. It all pairs together really well. Um, we have we've done one YouTube video total. It took us a while to get it done. We did a fried chicken sandwich, a southern style fried chicken sandwich, and the roasted ghost was actually part of the dredge that we used. So it was mixed in with the buttermilk, and then we did the dredge on top of it, and we did a drizzle with it and ranch over top. So you get those combinations of like, okay, we're just going to combine the roasted ghost with ranch or ketchup. We have our most unique sauce, our hot chocolate, and we've actually had two businesses. We have a local um, cake shop that did cupcakes with that in the batter,
Oh wow.
and it was it was awesome. So you got like the strawberry chocolate kind of feel inside of the cake, and then they garnish it with red pepper flakes. It was amazing. And then unfortunately, we had a coffee shop that has since gone out of business, but they did a hot chocolate with our hot chocolate in it, and they did like a strawberry puree in the hot chocolate. They poured in the hot sauce, and those were absolutely incredible. Um, we had somebody that did icing with it. They mixed it in their buttercream icing and turned it that way. So
Wow.
you get some weird opportunities that are really cool. Weird's maybe the worst word for it, but most people don't think of cupcakes being spicy or icing being spicy.
Yeah.
Um, and so to a lot of people that is weird, but once you try it, you're like, this is really neat. And that hot chocolate was designed as a dessert sauce. It was designed to be poured over ice cream or onto churros or even on like chicken and waffles and things like that. Um, and so it's an adventurous one. You have to be willing to try some different things for it. But it's a lot of fun once you start doing that.
Oh yeah, I mean, all of those sound freaking amazing to think about. Really being able to really pour this out on even like a peanut butter cookie. In my mind, all I'm thinking of
Oh
is a
yeah,
fresh peanut butter cookie with that drizzled on top. Maybe a little splash of like some spicy caramel or honey, and then you're just set.
we
Um,
mixed it with some fresh caramel, and that was awesome. And then when I actually made the sauce, I made the base for that one. And when I had friends over and I served them on chocolate chip cookies, that was how they
oh,
first tasted this hot sauce was on chocolate chip cookies, which was its own unique experience from that perspective as well.
Yep. That oh my goodness. That sounds magical. And one area that I feel like so many people that are whether they're just starting out or what have you, just it seems to be one of those voids in most people's minds where they block out the idea of adding spice to something that would be a dessert, like a sweet.
Yeah,
But in reality, there's so much more you can do with that, and such a great pairing because also the other ingredients in there can also play effect on how your dessert is. If you have something that's overly sweet, I talk about this all the time with lemonades. Like I like to get if I find a lemonade that is way too sweet and or I personally love really tart, but I also tell this to people that don't like super tart stuff. Or if you like, find something that's super tart, and then you want to add in a finishing or like a berry hot sauce of some sort, some kind of like a
yep,
sweet but tart, and then it's got a little bit of acidity naturally because of the hot sauce. It helps balance out whether that be super tart
yeah,
or super sweet, and it brings in another layer of depth. And it's a great pairing. Same thing happens with this. If more people would find creative and fun ways to try dessert style sauces or even sauces that might not be fully geared towards dessert, it's wild where you can add hot sauce to if you're actually wanting to apply it.
absolutely. And we had there's a lady, a local business here that's called the Cheesecake Fairy, and she did a cheesecake that she actually smoked the cheesecake and she used our roasted garlic inside of it. So you had a
Wow.
roasted garlic smoked cheesecake, and it was insanely good. It was very savory as opposed to the traditional sweet cheesecake, but the flavor profile was insane. And yeah, like you get those when you talk about doing like hot sauce on ice cream. For those that haven't tried it, it's really neat because you get that extra sensation of like it's not just cold, but it's also warm at the same time.
Yep.
So you get these different sensations that play in your mouth, and it's a neat feeling for your brain to go, that's different, but that's good. It's a good different.
Yep. Yeah. And so many people also it will help as far as being able to cut down that overall heat because you are
Yes.
eating it on the ice cream. Oh, I mean, I've even had God, what was it? It was a different chocolate, spicy chocolate sauce, and I put a little bit in some Greek yogurt, and it was amazing. Just give that up or give that in there, give it a good stir, and
Yep.
do it up, and
Yeah, you get
it's
the
right.
fattiness of the yogurt that plays into it, and that helps cut back some of the spice, but you still get some of it.
Yep.
It's a neat experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, now as far as I guess I should ask, and I should have asked, is everyone from the Pittsburgh area? How did y'all all come together and figure this whole thing out?
So I'm kind of the center point to everybody, including the owner that left. So the owner that left, him and I have been best friends since third grade. We went to school together. And then Steven and I, we went to high school and middle school together. He was a year younger than me, so I've known him for a very long time now. And then Dennis and I actually worked at Wendy's together for a long time. Steven also worked with us there. And then when I started where I work now, Ross and I worked together there. And so it was just kind of this moment of, hey, like these guys are all really good friends. Like they all like spicy stuff. Let's get together and have dinner. And it's the first time they'd all really met each other. And that's when everybody kind of hit it off and had a good time. And we said, like, let's start a company without consulting any of our wives or significant others at that point. And that's a mistake for anybody listening. Don't do that.
Yep.
It will get you into trouble. And especially the amount of work that running this type of business takes. We grow our own peppers, with all the cooking and all the events and having to go through and the meetings. And I mean, I'm working 24/7 on this basically as much as I possibly can, plus a full-time job, plus I have kids and still like to have some free time. So
Yeah.
thankfully I have some good partners that I can they can pick up some of the load when I need to take a break, or if I go on vacation I don't have to worry about doing a whole lot. I'm still doing a little bit of Facebook down there, and I do most of the social media aspect. I do most of the event coordination portion of it. So I had most of that done before I left, but then like the operational piece, they were able to continue the orders going out and getting wholesale meetings done and working on some of the projects that we're looking at right now. So it makes it a lot easier than a one-man show. I know a lot of these manufacturers are one-man shows or one-woman shows, and it's challenging. And I have immense amounts of respect for those individuals, because the amount of work that it takes for four of us to do this, having one person is just, I can't imagine.
Yep. No, yeah, mind blown as well. But at the same time, there's also another layer of difficulty when you are trying to operate around four different schedules, and
Yes.
then obviously family, as you said, etc., starts to add to the layers of depth that become the overall.
And then you have four different, and thankfully, like I mentioned earlier, we don't agree on a lot of things, which is actually a good thing. Like there's this whole, we argue or we have disagreements. I shouldn't say fights. We don't fight, but we don't agree on the same things a lot. But that makes us better as a company, because if it was just one of us doing this, we would not be where we are, or our sauces would not be as good as they are now. It takes the whole group to make something that is what we declare like, Maestros worthy, from our branding perspective.
Yeah. And I know you had mentioned it a few times now with growing your own peppers and really keeping up with the demand that's going on. Do you see that being something that in the future you're going to have to figure out contract growers to keep up with the supply, or how is that kind of tracking right now for y'all?
Yeah, we've had this conversation a couple of times internally. Right now, we're good. So we only grow our own Superhots. So right now we're growing Devil's Tongues because they're really hard to find. We're one of the few companies in the world that actually use them in sauces, which is a cool kind of thing. We grow our own Ghosts, we grow our own Scorpions, and we grow our own Reapers. We were growing jalapenos, habaneros, serranos, and the issue is like any of our produce suppliers, they can get us to those tomorrow. We can get 5, 6 cases, 7 cases if we need them tomorrow, at a very reasonable rate. Whereas like the jalapenos spent a whole summer harvesting, and we used everything we grew in one batch of Masterpiece. And it's like, well, that was a whole summer worth of time spent in, plot space. We only have finite amount of plot space that we used up, and it was all gone in one cook. So it's like, well, we could also have just called a produce supplier, spent a little bit of money, way less money than we spent on time, and had jalapenos the next day, and we could have had more than enough. And so that's what we've started to do is we did some cost benefit analysis on that and some time benefit analysis on that to understand where we need to put our time into. And when you're looking at, I want to buy a pound of Reapers and it's $35, I can go pick, 8 pounds of Reapers every week. We're fine. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it 100% makes a complete difference, and it makes 100% sense to me. It's kind of the same way that I try to view even just stuff that I would naturally grow for my own self, let alone for the business. Yeah. might as well not waste your time on that
Yeah.
and grow stuff that you know that you can't have easy access to. Let's do this. I had one more question, but I think for sake of time, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on over to the game because I think we'll also get
Okay.
into some of this conversation as well. But here we
Okay.
go. Let's check out this game. All right, here we go. We have a very fun dual round of the 5. So, the way this goes, there's numbers ranked on this left-hand side, 1 through 5. That is your ranking order. 1 could be the best or 5 could be the best. However you want to view this is totally up to you. The only thing is, I'm going to show you one image at a time. You have to set it then, and once it's set, we can't move it, but we can talk about it after the game's done.
All right.
Boom. Up first, Christina Aguilera. I personally chose an older photo because this is how I still picture her in my mind.
Let's go with a 4.
All right. And up next, well, this is
Mr. Rogers. That's number 1 right there. Unless you got Bob Ross coming, Mr. Rogers is number 1.
Mr. Rogers to shrink down. There we go. All right. Well, we have Mac Miller.
Let's go with 3.
All right.
I'm noticing a Pittsburgh theme.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a Pittsburgh theme here. Mark Cuban.
2.
And number 5, Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz got to be 5. Yep, Wiz is number 5 there.
All right. Well, now, you know, as I was building out this list, the only person that caught me off guard was actually Mark Cuban. I had no clue where he was born. Never paid attention to that.
He's from Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He has some good roots here, and he does quite a bit for the area, which is awesome as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I mean, now that we've played that round, is there any of these that you would have switched around?
No, I think I keep them pretty much in the same order here. Yeah, Mr. Rogers. I grew up watching him. Just what he taught the generations, and his message is clear and something that we try to live by.
Yep.
Treat others with respect and be a good person. Mark is he's very candid. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
He kind of says what's on his mind. You know what you're getting with him whenever you watch him. He does a lot of good for as much money as he has. He could easily be a guy that doesn't. He can do whatever he wants, but he doesn't seem to be that kind of individual.
Yep.
Mac Miller was gone too early.
Yeah.
That music scene is deep here in Pittsburgh for sure.
Yeah.
I prefer newer Christina over older Christina for sure. I think she's grown up a lot, and yeah, she didn't grow up from about an hour away from where I live now, and Wiz does some cool stuff for sure as well. Yeah. I'm good with this order for sure.
All right. Well, let's run it back. This is a game that has a dual round, so a new game, a new round. Here we go. Up first, well, we've already talked about this one, but we have Devil Dust on the board.
I'm gonna have to put that at number 3.
Number 3, all right. And then, well,
Still hurting.
Ooh.
Let me go with number 4 on that one.
Number 4. All right. Let's put that one there and grab the next one. Well, this is the taco sauce.
Number 2.
Number 2. All right. Let's see. Make some room for the next. And, well, here's the choice. Do you go 1 or 5? You have roasted ghosted garlic.
That is number 1.
Number 1. All right. And then that means inherently number 5. Well,
masterpiece.
That is the masterpiece.
Yep. And I would do some shifting for sure.
Well, if it was a complete vertical swap, you could just easily say 5 would be the highest or 1 would be the highest.
Yeah, no. 1, 2 are still good. Masterpiece moved to number 3. Devil Dust moved down, and Steelheart moved down for sure. That's the order in which I would use these sauces. Roasted Ghost is also our bestseller by a large margin. I mean, it's not even close. Like more than double our second bestseller. which is roasted garlic. It's baby brother. We started out with Ghosted. It was our third sauce we ever made. People loved it. Some people didn't like the heat. They wanted something more mild, so we just removed the ghost pepper from it. We used dried ghost for a reason. We didn't want to impact the flavor of the sauce. We just wanted to add some heat, and so we took away the ghost pepper, and that sauce became our second bestseller um, overall. And
Very
taco's
interesting.
actually our number three seller. So it's pretty cool to you know have those orders. And but yeah, I use Masterpiece a lot as well. Devil Dust is probably the one I use the fourth most, and then Steel Curtain is the one I would use the least amount, just because of the fact that I like spicy. I love spicy, but that is like the upper echelon of what I enjoy. So it comes out for, I eat it regularly, but it's also not what I use more than anything else.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Now, I guess to build upon that, because I had this question earlier, I thought about asking it, but I just refrained. As far as the local scene goes, in responding to those higher heat offerings from y'all, how has that been? Do you find that there's certain parts that kind of gravitate more towards that, or how has that broken down for y'all?
Yeah, I mean, our milder sauces tend to sell better. The roasted ghosted is that it's a nice medium, like dead center of the road heat. That's our best seller for a good reason. It's basically our flagship sauce as well. We do have this still hurting came out of spite. In all honesty, we have a Comic Con that we go to 3 times a year that we set up as a vendor. We took our masterpiece there, and people were like, this isn't hot, like this is nothing. And so I said, all right, fine, like we'll make something spicy. And so we brought out the steel hurting for the next Comic Con, and it lit people up, and yet people loved it, and people go, this still isn't hot enough. And I'm going, you're a crazy person. Like, we'll give you recommendations for other companies to go look at, because we're not for, if you're looking for that burn your face off heat, you're not going to find it here. Um, but we get a very big mixture of the by sales numbers. The lower sauces do sell better. The roasted garlic, the taco, the Mo Honey is pushing a little bit now, which is good to see. You always have to have a worse sauce, right? I mean, it's there. You can't have everything being a complete 100% banger all the time. And hot chocolate is our lowest seller because it's the most unique for sure, but it's also very spicy. And we have a lot of people that, I think if that sauce was more mild, we would probably sell a lot more of it, because we get people that are very interested in it, but they don't like very spicy things. They want that sweetness without the actual burn.
Hmm.
So we've talked about making a milder version. We're trying not to do that with too much of our lineup. We've already done it with our butcher and our Blazin butcher barbecue sauces. And we did it with roasted and ghosted. So we really try to stay away from that. We want to keep newer sauces coming instead of just, redoing an old sauce. Even though that sauce is really good, we want to kind of keep it untouched and let it be its own entity.
Yep. No, that makes sense. But it also would be pretty interesting, definitely with the bakery connections that you had mentioned and all that stuff. I wonder how much use case they would have for, say, a lower heat chocolate sauce.
They were the ones that actually liked the higher heat, because they were able to put it into something that reduced the heat. So you did get
Oh,
that. If you would have given them something milder, it might not have had any heat at all. They wanted, and they advertised it as like, hey, this is a spicy cupcake. Hey, this is a spicy drink. They want to make sure that it actually has that punch, and it's not one of those, just
the
air
gimmicks.
quote
Yeah.
spicy, yeah, gimmicky kind of thing of like, oh, it has peppers in it, like, but you don't taste anything. So
Yeah.
we've all had those. I think places, corporations are getting better at understanding like people want actual spicy stuff, not just the thing of like, oh, this has a habanero in it.
Yep.
That's not going to do enough. You have to actually make sure it's spicy, then it tastes good as well.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Okay. Okay. Well, then that's good feedback there, because then that sounds like really kind of any other changes of that nature would be more along the line of uh, you know, maybe everyday consumers. And it's like at that
Yep.
point, once you're saying what you're saying earlier, which is sticking true to what y'all make, and just that being the product, it makes much more sense to take that approach anyways. So
Yeah, and we took the thought process of like, we do not have one sauce for everybody. It's not a one sauce fits all, but we do have a sauce for everybody.
hmm.
Whether as other people don't want sauce at all, we can't help them. Um, but we do have something for everybody within our lineup, and we're pretty proud about that. We have something that has no heat. We have something that packs a big punch. and everything in between, and a variety of big, bold flavors that go along with it.
Okay. Yeah, thing the thing that I was going to say as well with upcoming League of Fire events that are in that area. Have y'all got out to any of the competitions to either vend and get more in front of the higher heat sauces in front of those chili heads?
Not yet. That's in August. That's the Pittsburgh Rivers of Fire is the
Yep.
first League of Fire here in Pittsburgh. We have not been to anything before. We haven't been to any hot sauce festivals before. We were going to try to make the Columbus one this year, but it was the day I came back from vacation and we'd had to be up there setting up, and I was in the car for 14 hours. So I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. And that was something that we need more than one person at, or we have to figure out a schedule around that. So that's hopefully next year, 2026, 2027, that we're starting to push more into traveling a bit more. And there's obviously some more risk that comes to that, because now you have to get a hotel room and you have to figure out how to ship your things across the country, or you have to take a road trip across the country.
Yep.
But the conversation we've had internally is, if we can't get in front of our dedicated demographic and sell sauces, then we need to reconsider what we're doing. We've done well outside of like our dedicated demographic, but if we can't go into an event that's solely around hot sauce and make money there, we have a problem. So we need to go at least give those a chance. Um, we've done hot sauce competitions. Specifically, we've done Old Boney Hot Summer Nights. We've won that 3 years in a row with different awards. And so we have that piece. We're looking to do some more competitions in that sense of trying to get our sauces judged and see what we can do there. Um, Gain some good friends from doing that from other companies, Clowns on Fire and Swindle Sauce and others like that are just amazing people and fun to talk to. But yeah, we have big hopes for Rivers of Fire here coming to Pittsburgh and seeing the League of Fire and maybe Johnny Sovo and whatnot. So
Yep. Yeah, no, that sounds like a fun time and a great thing to be at. That's for sure. One thing I would like to, I guess, touch on here, and we kind of hit on a few areas that could fall into this, but the nugget of knowledge being geared around those individuals that are, maybe they're starting out, maybe they're just getting going with their sauce or spicy product. What would your nugget of knowledge be for those individuals?
oh, we've had so many lessons learned. I mean, there's so much of the process that's very tedious. It's not hard. It's just time consuming, and you got to have patience. That's the biggest one. You're going to get no's. You're going to get people that don't like your stuff, and that's fine. Listen to feedback. That's a big part as well. I would say we've had a very good response overall, but when we got our first no, it was devastating because we thought we had a great product. We had good feedback from a lot of people. We went to a restaurant and they were like, they tried to tell us what was in our sauce without even tasting it. They basically had already written us off before we walked through the door. They kind of just invited us in because they were local, and that was a big deal because we're like, man, like we got told no, but it's like we have all these other people saying yes. So you just got to roll with the punches and understand that you're not going to be for everybody, and not everybody's going to be for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the biggest nugget of knowledge is and do things the right way. Don't try to cut corners. Don't try to just skirt the system at all. Just do what you have to do because they will find out. We've been very adamant about making sure we're doing things the right way. We follow closely with our government guidelines, and we talk very close with our health inspectors to make sure that we're doing what we can do, because when you get into this industry, you don't just make people sick, you can kill somebody.
Yep.
Botulism is a very big deal, and it's a very serious thing because it's hard to see it. You can't taste it, you can't smell it. So that's a very large thing, and we take that to heart. We've worked so hard to get this company off the ground. We bootstrapped ourselves entirely. We were fully self-funded. We are debt-free, which is an amazing feeling. We were not going to throw it away for trying to save a few pennies or try to save a few minutes on doing something. We've worked hard to get here. Just and understand that it does. Respect your work. So multiple nuggets of knowledge, I guess. But those are some big lessons that we've learned as we've gone through this. It's been a really cool experience. We've had a lot of good helping hands that have given us advice or showed us, some input. I really want to shout out Tom Mata from Allegheny City Farms. Unfortunately, that business is no longer up and running, but Tom has been just an amazing mentor. Then he didn't have to be. He reached out on his own accord. He talked to us. He guided us through things, and we learned a lot from him. So big shout out to Tom. I don't know if he watches this or not, but I hope so.
Well, that's a great layer of nugget of knowledge going on there. So thank you so much for that. I think that'll be greatly beneficial for those that are getting going and they're, maybe just running into that wall. I think that what you
It's
said
tough.
hits home. It's very clear and it keeps it to where they're able to keep moving forward. So thank you
Yep.
for that. Now,
Thank you.
here's your chance to put someone on the hot seat. This is someone that you think would make a great guest for the show.
Oh, I think that either I want to say Richard Bryson from Swindle Sauce. I've gotten we talk a lot now. He's brand new to the industry. He's only been out for I think a year at most. He's pretty new to the game. Makes some stellar sauces, absolutely stellar sauces. He's an actual chef. None of us have our big cooking industry is we worked at Wendy's. We don't have actual kitchen knowledge. We didn't go to school for this. He did, and he has a really solid lineup. I think he'd be a great guest to get a hold of. And if you need contact information, I can give you that.
Okay.
Great guy as well.
Well, we'll be reaching out to set up a time to have him on and look forward to that. Thank you so much again for that nomination.
Yep, for sure.
Now, the last part is really beneficial for those that are audio only listening on Apple Podcasts. But, if there's anything that's also coming up that you want everyone to know, this is a great chance to let them know that. But where can they find you? How can they find you?
So if you're in the Pittsburgh area, we're at a bunch of the events coming up and all the festivals. Check out our Facebook page, Maestros Sauce Co. I think it's at Co Maestro is what it is on Facebook. Um, if not, our website, maestrosauceco.com. We ship nationwide. We offer bundle discounts. We offer full sample selections, and we ship nationwide. So for a flat rate based by region, we've had to change that up because the shipping costs were just astronomically insane. So we've had to change that model, but we still try to keep it as cheap as possible for everybody else. Those are the big ways to find us, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll get to get all the updates about us.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure having you on here. Obviously, there's still so much more we can talk about and dive into, so would love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know.
Thank you. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. If you would like to keep up with Maestros Sauce Co., I will have the direct links down below for every social media, direct link to the website, and you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Maestros Sauce Co. and all the events they have coming up very soon, so you can catch them in person. If you enjoyed the products that are featured here on Hot or Not, go ahead and I'll have the direct links down below for those as well. And want to shout out to all of those that have been sharing this around and really helping grow the overall podcast and make it what it is. Thank y'all so much. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Shout out to all those that are just checking out the podcast for the first time. Thank y'all so much for being here. And want to remind you, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site, maybe you had somebody at one point and you lost contact with them, or maybe you never got around to building out your nice online presence. Reach out to webdx.one. They make it simple, painless, easy, and they also help with overall business automations. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.